Great. Okay, guys. Now we're going to be doing the second poem, and this one is a particularly hard one because Shakespearean language is really hard. So the name of the poem is called "When in Sweet Silent Thought" by William Shakespeare. So the poem goes like this. When to the sessions of sweet silent thought I summon up remembrance of things past, I sigh at the lack of many a thing I sought, and with old woes new wail my dear time's waste. Then I drown an eye, unused to flow, for precious friends hid in death's dateless night, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled woe, and moan the expense of many a vanished sight. Then I can grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from woe to woe tell o'er the sad account of fore bemoaned moan, which I knew pay as if not paid before. But if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored and sorrows end. Okay, guys, so this poem, like I said, is particularly hard because of Shakespeare, but it's okay. I'm going to make it really, really easy for you. And remember, figures of speech. That is very important. Okay, so let's do question one. Question one says, refers to line 3 when Shakespeare says, I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought. Okay, then the actual question says, explain what the word sought or otherwise sigh suggests about the speaker's state of mind. So we need to explain why Shakespeare is sighing here. Okay, so basically, guys, let me just give you a bit of background about the word sigh. When you sigh, it means, sighing is basically going like this. When you do that, it means you've given up, it means you're depressed, or it means you're sad about something, right? So when he says that I sigh at the lack of many thing I sought, he's basically saying that he's depressed about the things that he thought he was going to achieve but has not yet achieved. So many a thing I sought. When you sought after something, it means you want to do something or you want to achieve something. So if you sigh at the lack of something, it means you are depressed or sad about not having done something or not having achieved something. Okay, that's pretty easy enough. Okay, then question 2 says, refers to line 6. Line 6 says, then can I drown and I. But before that, it actually says, for precious friends hid in death's dateless night. So that's the line we're looking for here. It says, for precious friends hid in death's dateless night. Then the question says, what impression of death is created by this description? Okay, so guys, the first thing we need to look at here is the words, okay? The first important word here is dateless. When something is dateless, it means it doesn't have time. That means it's never ending. So that's what Shakespeare is saying here, that death is never ending. And remember, he also uses the word night. Night means darkness. So he's basically saying that his friends are trapped in death and darkness, and he will never ever see them again. So he's continuing his sadness of the things that he has lost, which are also his friends, which are now in death's darkness. Okay, that was also pretty simple enough, right? Not too bad. Okay, then the next question says, refer to lines 9 and 12. So I'm going to read 9 and 12, 9 to 12 rather. They say, then can I grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from woe to woe tell o'er. Then line 11 says, the sad account of fore bemoaned moan. And then line 12 says, which I knew pay as if not paid before. Okay, guys, before I explain this, first you need to understand that Shakespeare used to write in a very different way. So on line 10, he says, and heavily from woe to woe tell o'er. The word o'er, according to the poem, is spelled O apostrophe ER. That just means over, okay? The apostrophe is standing for over. Okay, so the question says, discuss the effectiveness of the imagery in these lines. Okay, just one more time, guys. The imagery on these lines is as follows. Then I can grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from woe to woe tell o'er. The sad account of fore bemoaned moan, which I knew pay as if not paid before. Listen to what Shakespeare is saying. He is actually using two words in the same line. So grieve, grievances, woe to woe. For bemoaned moan, and pay as if not paid. So this is something called assonance. yeah, especially on line 12 where it says pay as if not paid before. Assonance is when you make words sound the same with the same letter. So I'm just going to give you an example that is not relevant to the poem. So if I say to you something like Betty bought butter but she found the butter bitter, so Betty would you buy more butter to make the bitter butter better. That is called assonance. It's a figure of speech. It's a really cool one. Okay, but I'm going to tell you something really cool about this. There is something called ironic repetition. It's a very cool figure of speech where you say something using the same word but changing the context of the same word. So let's look at line 9. It says, I grieve at grievances. When you grieve at something, you grieve and then you get over it. But Shakespeare is not over it. So he's still grieving at the fact that he's grieving. So can you see, can you actually feel his pain here? He's grieving for the fact that he's grieving. And then line 10 says, and heavily from woe to woe. Guys, the word woe just means trouble. Okay, so he's saying that he has a heavy heart from having worries after worries after worries that he can never get over. And then line 11 is very cool because he's saying that he's thinking about the sad account of four bemoaned moan. This is when you moan at something, you're really sad about it. It's kind of like a really subtle cry about something. So now he's saying that I'm moaning at things that I've moaned for before, as if these things will never leave me alone, right? And then line 12 says, which I knew pay as if not paid before. So he's saying that the pain that I'm feeling is something that I'm still paying for, but I've already felt the pain. So instead of feeling the pain now, I should have felt the pain years ago or months ago, or what, you know, or whatever the relevance of this poem is. But then he's still paying for the pain that he was feeling before. So this poem is really, really, really sad. So to get full marks here, what you need to do is say that Shakespeare is actually using wordplay and things like ironic repetition and assonance to further drive in the message of his sadness and how sad he is and how he can never get over his worries and pain. And then you get full 3 marks for this, okay? And then question 4, which is the last question for this, is also for 3 marks. It says, refers to line 13 and 14. Line 13 and 14 says, but if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored and sorrows end. So the question is, these lines depict a change in the speaker's attitude towards circumstances. Do you agree with the statement? First of all, you have to agree with the statement. If you disagree, you're already wrong. The reason why you have to agree is because I've just explained to you why this entire poem is sad, but the last 2 lines are actually not sad. So what he's saying is, but if the while I think about it, right? So, you know, when I'm translating it from Shakespearean English to normal English, he's saying, but if I take time to think about things and think about you, my dear friend, all the things that I've lost and all the things that I have, I realize that these are not sorrows anymore, and they kind of bring joy to me because I miss you in a better light or in a better life or the life that you've lived. So you agree with the statement that he's changing his attitude from sadness to one of hope. He has hope now that the things that he's lost are not actually that bad. The friends that he's lost, he knows that these friends are in a better place. You know, when people die, we generally say that they're going to a better place, right? So that is what the speaker is saying here, that he feels like his friends are now at a better place and that losing them is not really that bad. And he knows that by losing them, he can get on with his life, and by accepting that his friends are gone, he can actually do more in his life instead of worrying about things that he cannot change. And that is the entirety of this poem. Fantastic. Okay guys, we've come to the end of our lesson, and just one fun fact about English literature is that figures of speech will always give you an idea about poetry. So if you understand what metaphors are, what similes are, what personification is, you already have a picture in your mind and you're gonna ace your test and exams. But in any case, before I let you guys go, just remember to please subscribe down below for Giant Figure Academy so that you're notified about new lessons that we post. And remember always to hit the notifications bell so that whenever we upload a new video, you have it right away. Again, my name is Tulani Ndambo and this was English Paper 2.